on earth would you put a expensive cell phone in a pool? Well, it's the Galaxy S8 and it's waterproof. Anyway, today we're about the... Oh, that's one of the reasons why you don't put your phone in the water, because then the touchscreen doesn't work properly. Yeah, try it again and again and again. I'm gonna have to dry off the screen. I apologize. Let's see. Let's give it right. Oh, look at that. It switched over. All right, so there we have the Mavic Pro, and here is the remote control for it. And I'm going to explain to you why this is an amazing piece of hardware. Now, this is how portable it is. So I'm going to demonstrate its portability. First of all, in this configuration, it can actually fit in your pocket, in a cargo pants pocket. I've done it before. So that is in fact the case. I don't know why it's telling me I have a bad connection on Wi-Fi. That makes no sense. Anyway, there's the front view. So there's the camera. It is 4, but it looks best at 2, and something you can just fly blind, and it'll never crash because it's got no. You still got to know what you're doing. It is still crashable. In fact, for a while now, and never crashed. Indoor flying and close quarters, I kind of pushed things a little bit and found myself. The good news is, this is how it looks after 4 or 5 crashes. Which is barely noticeable. If you look very closely, let's see, I don't want to bend the props, that would not be a good idea. Look very closely, you can see, right, you can see some damage there on the end. So, and then I lost another part. If you look right there, but there is, you see that? That's probably the worst that I've seen. Let's focus on the table. All right. One of the most amazing things about the DJI Mavic Pro quadcopter from DJI, of course, is the portability. So, and I'm going to try to do this with one hand, holding the camera and then doing this, but this can fit in a cargo pocket on a pair of pants, jeans, whatever. So I'm going to open it up. So this is how you open it up. So I can push out these legs right here. All right. Let's just stick my finger in there. All right. So we're going to just go and go. Is this the right way? Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and push that out. One hand. Look at that. Yeah. It's a little tricky with one hand. But the fact that I can even do it with one hand is pretty amazing. Look at that. There we go. All right. And now we can push the legs out underneath. So I'll give you sort of a side view. So we're going to push this out. Okay, we got this propeller in the way. Let's make sure we don't have that. It's probably a really bad idea, but all right. So let's go ahead and push that leg out. Yeah. All right, almost got it. Ah! All right. And now let's push out the other one. So push out this final leg here. Yeah. All right, one-handed. We got it. You can do it. All right. Oh man. All right, we did it. It is complete. So this is how it looks assembled, fully assembled and ready for flight. So that is the DJI Mavic Pro. This is a remote control helicopter with a built-in camera. The type of helicopter it is a quadcopter, quad because it has 4 rotors. So it can also be referred to as a multi-rotor. So it's a multi-rotor helicopter, also UAV, unmanned aerial vehicle. And to the novices and the laymen's, this is a drone, it's a drone. But we are not novices, so we call it the appropriate terms. There's so many terms that are appropriate for this. There's no need to add another one from Star Wars. Anyway, so fully assembled. To start it up, it's very simple. All I need to do is press and hold on this. So it's tap, tap. So now it's on. It does this little thing with the motors, making sure everything's good to go, certain checks, system checks. So I'm going to put it in the center of this table. We're going to launch it right from here. Here is the remote control, which, by the way, you may have seen a lot of people flying, including myself, with the phone right here, but I'm using the phone to do this live stream. So obviously the phone's not right here, but the point is you don't need the phone to be there, right? Because the remote can fly by itself. Obviously I won't be able to see the video feed, right? Because I don't have the phone connected, but I can certainly fly it as is. And to do so, I simply, there's a button right here, upper right hand corner. So you're just gonna tap, tap and hold. And of course we crash. And of course we crash. All right, so it is on. It already says ready to go. It says ATI mode, which means that I got to be very careful because I don't have any GPS. I'll talk a little bit about technology on other things, what makes this amazing. But first, let's do our first flight. So to launch this, it's pretty simple. Let's back up a little bit here. And let's push it away just a little bit, give ourselves a little bit of room here, just in case anything crazy happens. So what we're gonna do to launch, or to start the motors anyway, we have joystick left and right. What we can do is down and to the center. So down and in. So we're gonna go like that. So now the motors are on. See that? The motors are on and she is ready to launch. So to launch it, all I need to do is push this up and it's gonna take off. So I need to be ready to get on this joystick just in case it does something weird because we are indoors. So let's launch it up. All right, landed right on the edge of the table there. Living dangerously. That's how I like it. All right, so I'm gonna take off again. So got the joysticks here again, in and down. All right, and I'm gonna let you see the full launch. So I'm just gonna push this up. And just to give you an idea of how stable it is, I'm gonna stabilize the camera that I'm holding. And you can see any drift. So she's drifting a little bit, but not much at all. So it's maintaining this position by itself, and I don't think it has any GPS access inside here. So what it's doing is it's actually able to see, it has these things called vision sensors. It can see the table and the surfaces below, and it's using that to maintain its current position. When you're outside, it uses GPS. Also, it obviously has the ability to detect its altitude, so it's able to maintain this specific height. It's also got obstacle avoidance sensors. So for example, so the remote is here, obviously, so I'm not controlling it. Now take a look at this. See that? So it's actually able to sense me and move away from me. Let me bring it back down. So it doesn't have sensors in all directions, but let's see what happens. See that? Doesn't see that. And I don't believe there's any sensors in the back. See that? Nothing in the back. But if we go in the front, it's supposed to have front sensors. I don't know why it's not reacting to that, but anyway. All right, so let's go for a little flight here. I'm gonna try to mount this camera so you can see. It's gonna be a little bit tricky. All right, so here we go. So you can also land it in your hand, and I'll show you that in a second. Let's take off again. Gets you a higher view. I'm hoping you can see this. So I can actually, you got to be careful because the sensors will detect your hand and move up, right? So what I like to do is I start bringing it down first, and as it's coming down, I sort of slip my hand in at the last second and get it. So you can take a look. Hopefully you can see this. So as you can see, I basically landed it right into my hand. I put my hand right underneath as it's going down and land it right there. And there you have it. So what makes this really awesome is obviously the portability for sure. And by the way, to turn this off, it's the same thing as starting it up. So it's tap and hold. As it says, you can release it, so that's good. Same thing here. It's always this double tap system. Single tap to check your battery. Huh, doesn't make any sense because it's not fully charged. It's 2 dots. I don't know what, so I'm not sure what this is about. That checks that when it's off. When it's on, I don't really know what that does. But to turn it off, it's just like the remote. Tap, press and hold. Now it's off. So tap it. I should see 2 dots, which is how much battery life I have left, which is not much. All right? So that's pretty much it. So what makes this so awesome is portability for sure, convenience. I mean, you can fit this in your pocket. Within seconds, you can whip this out and be ready to fly. I mean, it takes you no time to unfold the arms and pretty much tap and hold. It's on, turn the remote on, you know, it boots up really quickly and you're ready to fly. Pretty awesome, pretty convenient. Carry on the airlines, right? In a backpack. I mean, it's so convenient to have this kind of platform in your pocket. Super convenient. Very easy to fly to the point where it's dangerous because it basically flies itself. So you can get sort of arrogant, you know, like look at what I was doing, just flying around the pool, doing those laps. You know, you're like, whoa, that was actually not that hard to do. But if the GPS, well, I don't have GPS in here really, but if the vision sensor failed for some reason, let's say it got really dark, like a lot of the lights from the sun, and the sun got really dark all of a sudden, and now it's no vision sensor, so it's pretty much 100% manual. I could have easily lost control very quickly. So in an outdoor scenario, you're out there flying around and you've been flying for a while, no incidents, no accidents, it's so easy, so awesome, and you get really comfortable, and then all of a sudden you lose GPS or something and you gotta fly it manually and there's wind blowing, and all of a sudden you panic, you realize the skill level required to fly a helicopter outside with wind blowing and all this kind of stuff. You gotta constantly be compensating for, you know, the wind blowing you around. I mean, you staying in one position is not just not moving the controls. And that's the main difference between actually flying this thing and having this thing fly itself. You know, when you're flying it with GPS, it's really flying itself and you're just a director. You're saying go left, go right, but it's doing it. Because as I illustrated, I think I said this last night, the instructions of how you fly this from this end of the pool to the other end of the pool is not simply you push the stick up to go forward. Now in a vacuum, you know, well, not a vacuum, but let's say in an environment where there's no wind or anything, it's completely perfect environment, then that is correct. Completely perfect environment and completely perfect device, that there's no bias or imbalances on the helicopter, so it's sort of leaning one way or the other. Then in that perfect world with perfectly consistent temperature, no winds, no nothing, then to fly across is simply, you know, pressing one direction, you know, to go forward, and that's it. But in the real world, getting from here to there, similar to driving like even a car, like driving a car is not just you keep the steering wheel in one direction. Even on a straight road, it's just keeping it in one direction because you have you have the surface of the road being uneven and all kinds of different factors. So you do have to sort of course correct, even more so when you're flying. So the instructions to get from here to there, or how you fly it, is forward, a little bit left, a little bit right, a little bit left, harder left. I'm just saying theoretically, that's the kind of things that you would have to do to keep it straight, because you have things that will cause you to go off course, so you have to keep yourself on course, right? So flying with this thing, with all the technology, eliminates a lot of that stuff. So you can feel like you're better than you really are, because the Mavic is flying, not you, right? So that's a very dangerous thing, because, for example, this thing is super stable even in high winds. So you might go out in high winds and like, man, this is so easy. Even in high winds, it's good to go. But high winds is a very, very difficult scenario to fly in. So if you end up losing the GPS or the vision sensors or whatever, you know, it can go from super easy to really, really difficult, and sort of, you know, you're gonna crash. It's a matter of how long before you crash, but clearly you're going to crash, right? So that being said, the things that are awesome about this as well is also the obstacle avoidance, which is not perfect, but it's still a great help, where, you know, it can sense objects like walls and people and things like that. But sometimes that can actually get in the way, because sometimes you're trying to go through a narrow gap and it's like, oh, there's something on my left, oh, there's something on my right, and it actually will stop. It's not just warning you, it actually is stopping. So I'm saying go, it's safe, you have enough room, and it's like, no, there's something here, there's something there, you know. So there might be scenarios where if you get really good, you might want to actually turn that stuff off, because that can actually make you crash. It's interesting. The technology of avoiding a crash can actually cause you to crash, because it's busy trying to avoid hitting this, avoid hitting that, and then it'll actually not only not move, it'll move as well. So it'll see something and like try to move out of the way so it doesn't hit it, and then it can actually, by moving out of the way, move into hitting something else, which is kind of ironic, because so you see something on the right and you move to the left to get away from it, but you don't see that thing on the left that you run into. So obviously the technology is not perfect, because ideally that scenario should never really happen. When it's moving out of the way of one object, it should sense another object, not run into it. It shouldn't run into another object trying to avoid another one. It should center itself between the two objects, right? Something on the left, something on the right. It should center itself rather than running into it. In fact, there should be a technology that, like if you go into a doorway, that should be a simple equation. So I have an object on the right and an object on the left. One is closer than the other. Even the distance moves to the point where you are equal distant from both objects. And if the controller is insisting that you go forward, like if you hold the controller for more than 3 seconds or something, and then decide that the pilot knows what they're doing, and just go. Stay centered, but just go. Don't refuse to move when you have an operator that's saying go, and they're holding the control forward, holding it forward, and you're saying no, 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 no. Maybe give them like 2 warnings. You know, it's like beep, beep, obstacle, beep, beep, obstacle. And then the third time, this is, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but ignoring obstacle, going forward or whatever. Override, obstacle avoidance, override. Temporary obstacle avoidance, override for like a second or two. It will not use any sensors and just do what you tell it to do, and then the sensors come back on again. You know, something to that effect, I think, would solve that problem. But overall, it's very easy to fly. It's very fast. I can go 35, 40 miles per hour on this thing, depending on what direction I'm flying in. The range is crazy. I've flown 2,000, I think 800. I mean, I think it has a 5-mile range depending on where you are. Obviously, that's not going to happen in a major city or something like that. You know, but you know, Los Angeles, up in the hills, you know, out in the desert and stuff like that, that's not a problem. New York City, not so much. Miami, there's definitely a lot of opportunity depending on where you are. So the range basically varies. Other than that, being able to fly with a video feed, you can see the camera, connect your phone to the remote. So the phone will go right in here. There's a universal adapter. You can plug it right in there. Set up for the, I think it's USB on the Galaxy S8, but it comes with a phone or a micro USB or whatever you need. So that's pretty cool. You can connect to a tablet, and I believe that's the way you do it. There's a connector there, so you can connect right there to your tablet. It's got some speakers. Speakers are right here, so you can hear it, or you can hear it through your headphones. Altitude, your speed, you know, whatever it is, warm. I think it makes your phone vibrate when there's like an obstacle in the way. You've also got a lot of different switches where you can change the camera angle and operate different functions. See those two switches, one on the left, one on the right, and then you have pitch controls. Wait a minute, I don't know what both of these do. One of them is the pitch of the, so you can tilt the camera up and down, but what's the other one? I don't remember. Up and down, but there's another dial over here too. You have this should take, and that's the other end of the cable that connects to your phone, and your two antennas, and then you also have one of these can also tilt the camera all the way down really quickly and all the way up really quickly. I think this will pause like in missions that you're doing. Return to home is right here. So this is up, down, left, right, and this is go forward, go backwards, go left, and that is good. So 4K, 1080p, at 1080p you can go up to 96 frames per second. I think you can do 120 frames per second in lower resolution. So, oh, that's what that is. This is the exposure. I can crank it up, make it brighter, make it darker. Pretty convenient. When you fly without the phone or tablet, you don't the intelligent flight modes because you have very limited, you know, what you can see on this display. So you can only fly in the mode, I believe, with GPS, and then you have, I think it's nav mode, have GPS. There's also vision. So that's pretty much it. So it's really awesome. Very, very happy with the product, especially now after all these crashes, knowing it's still flying and crashed. That is pretty amazing. I actually struck one of these walls the other day. Like camp. So absolutely amazing. I gave a major thumbs up to this. If you're looking for a quadcopter to do aerial footage or whatever, this is the one to get. Now, it's not the best in terms of speed, flying, and depth. Quality is really good. But if you're looking for top of the line for image quality and those other features, you definitely want to get one of the Phantoms. The Phantoms, in that range, you have higher quality options, and then definitely the Inspire, which is expensive, really high quality options. But in terms of portability, you want great video quality and you want ultimate in portability, easy to fly, super convenient. This is the ultimate all-around awesome quadcopter from DJI. For those who are video snobs who want the best of the best for like image quality and other things, you want the Phantom, you want the Inspire. But for the rest of us, I mean, I have a background, this is a long time ago, but in cinematography. So, you know, if I'm happy with the image quality of this, I think a majority of the people will feel the same way. So it's really, really awesome video quality. It's just that there is better. So if you want the best of the best for video quality, that's not this. You have cameras with bigger sensors and things like that. Anyway, this is DJI Mavic Pro, and that's my review and assessment of the product.